This past year has been one of the worst years for my health. And if you've had a hard year too, perhaps feeling out of rhythm and just feeling off and not like yourself, in this video, I'm going to share 4 simple ways to get back on track. All right, so here's what actually happened. Over the past year, my health slowly started falling apart. It wasn't all at once, but it was just piece by piece. And it really started with injuries. I've dealt with chronic back pain for a while, and I ended up tearing a AC joint in my shoulder, and then the cherry on top is that I ruptured my appendix, which took me out for a while. And although all that was terrible, in the middle of that, my wife and I had our daughter, which has been the greatest blessing in my life. It's been absolutely amazing. But if I'm being completely honest about that, it did not make life easier. If anything, that kind of big life change took a pretty hefty toll on my health. I think a lot of people can relate to that because when life shifts like that, you don't usually fall off all at once, and it's not like you wake up one day and decide, I'm not going to take care of myself anymore. No one wants that. I've never met someone whose goal is to become unhealthy. In fact, most people want the opposite. They want to lose weight. They want to feel better, to have more energy, to get their health back. But that's exactly why it's so dangerous, because it doesn't happen all at once. It sneaks up on you. You start losing sleep. You lose time. Your schedule changes, and you start choosing convenient meals. You start going out more. You stop moving as much. And for me, I also stepped into a job that I'm sitting most of the time, and my body just started feeling tighter, and my energy dropped. My posture started to change, and it was just all of those little things, the injuries, the job, that just started stacking up. And before long, I just did not feel like myself anymore. And this really just proves something that we all know, but we often forget. And it's that the small things done consistently determine our future. But most of the time when we talk about that, I feel like it's in this positive way. You building healthy habits, or growing your money in the stock market and letting your money compound and becoming just a better version of yourself. But what doesn't get talked about enough is that it works both ways. The same way that those small good decisions compound, the bad ones compound too. And that's how most people, and that's how I ended up in that place I was, because it wasn't one big decision, but hundreds of small bad ones. And that's why it's so dangerous, because you don't notice that it's happening. And that's what happened to me. And if you're being honest with yourself, it's probably what happened to you. Life got busy, things got a little harder, your routine got disrupted, and before you knew it, you were off track. But here's the part that actually gives me hope, and hopefully you some hope as well, is the same way that those decisions slowly take you away from your health, it's the exact same way that it's going to bring you back. So here's what I'm reminding myself right now, and maybe you need this too, but it's that a hard season does not have to become a permanent direction. Just because life knocked you down and knocked you out of rhythm doesn't mean you have to stay there. Because the reality is, seasons, they come and go. Things get hard, and then, of course, they get easier. Schedules change. You have kids. You move towns. All of those things. It's just part of life. You can't avoid that. But what often happens is that the habits we build during those seasons are the things that like to stick around. The convenience, the inconsistency, the lack of movement. And it's not because we wanted that long term, but because we lived in that long enough that it became our new normal. And that's where I noticed I was stuck. And most people start to feel stuck, because what used to be temporary now feels permanent. But the good news for both you and I is that we're not stuck. We're just out of rhythm. and rhythm can be rebuilt. So here's the big question, and probably what you've been waiting for this whole time. It's, how do I get back on track? How do I find that rhythm again? And even when life is still busy, then you're still tired and things just aren't magically easier, how do we find that? And for me, it just comes down to a few simple things that really anyone can do every single day that will help compound your life in the right direction. So the first point isn't really a habit, it's more of a rule. And it's the rule that's going to make everything work. And that rule is start small. One of the biggest mistakes that I've made, and I see people make all the time, is trying to go from 0 to 100 overnight. They try and jump back into these long, early morning, 5 a.m. workouts when they're used to waking up at 8 a.m. And we try and fix our whole nutrition by only eating whole foods and trying not to eat sugar when yesterday I had a dozen donuts. You know, it's just not sustainable, and it doesn't last like that. So the key to consistency is sustainability. And if it's not sustainable, you're not going to stick to it. And I certainly don't myself in my own life. And I know it's tempting to move fast. You want to see results as fast as possible. You want to feel better. You want to lose weight. But if we're real, the fastest way to sustainable change is actually through the small, simple things done consistently. I mean, just think about it. We've all tried the fast way. We go all in, we push hard, we burn out, we quit, and then a little time passes and we do that exact same thing again. And to prove to you, this is what I mean. Take a look at this graphic. On the left, you start strong, you go all in, but eventually you burn out and you give up, and then you repeat the same cycle. And before you know it, a whole year goes by and you're right back where you started. Now, if we look at the other side, this is what actually works. You start small, you stay consistent, and over time, that builds into real lasting change. So imagine if you just stuck to those small things and did that consistently, that same year would look completely different. That's why the fastest way to real sustainable change isn't doing more, it's doing less, but doing it consistently. So as we walk through the next 3 habits, I just want you to ask yourself this one question. What's something small that I can do right now that I'm 100% confident I can do consistently? All right, so habit 1, something super simple, something we all do every day regardless, but it's move your body every single day. And I want this to be clear, is you do not have to have the perfect workout plan. You don't have to be in the gym all the time. You don't have to be running marathons or doing hill sprints. All this means is move more than you are moving right now. Because there's 2 types of movement. There's intentional exercise, and that would be like a workout at the gym or doing workout classes, lifting, running, biking, all of things like that. And then there's everything else. That's the standing or chasing your kids around the house, doing dishes, fidgeting at work, and little things like that. Believe it or not, that second one is actually a bigger part of your daily energy output. But that's a whole nother video. So if you're not subscribed and you want to understand how fat loss actually works, make sure you're subscribed. But for now, if you're feeling stuck, just increasing that daily movement can make a huge difference. You know, if you can get a workout in, that's great. But if not, just start moving more than you are now. This could look like just going for a short walk after lunch, standing and pacing during a phone call, or perhaps just park further in the parking lot, or when you get to work, take the stairs instead of the elevator. Little things like that will add up over time and allow you to get more movement in. And Maybe even join a casual pickleball league a couple times a week. Get creative. It doesn't have to be anything extreme or CrossFit and things like that, but just simply move more. And for me, I'm keeping it simple. I enjoy lifting weights. So my goal is to lift weights 2 to 3 times a week and just build movement throughout my day, trying to get in about 7,000 to 10,000 steps a day. And that's something I know I can stick to. So remember that first rule is whatever you decide to do, make sure it's something that you can do consistently, that you're 100% positive you can do it. Now we're on to habit 2. And this is just eat mindfully. Most people think getting healthy starts with what you eat, but I actually think it's a little different. I think we're so focused on what we're eating that we don't ask ourselves why we're eating in the first place. And I think that's probably one of the best questions that anyone could ask is, why am I eating this? Because if I'm completely honest, and I'm sure if you are too, a lot of why I eat doesn't come because of physiological hunger. I'm not actually hungry. It's more boredom, it's stress, it's convenient. And before long, someone at the Frito-Lay factory just got a promotion because I just downed a bag of chips. And if I'm being real, that's probably been my biggest struggle lately. It's eating for pleasure, grabbing something just because it's fast, not even thinking about it. And I'll often finish and realize that I didn't even need that. So instead of trying to fix everything, here's what I'm doing right now, and maybe you can try this too. It's to start asking, why am I eating this? And it's not to feel guilty, it's to become more aware. Sometimes the answer is, I'm actually hungry. My body actually needs food, but a lot of the times it's probably psychological. And that awareness alone can start to change a lot. Probably one of the best things to do is to eat slower. This is huge for me because most of the time I'm not overeating because I'm starving. I'm overeating because I'm just eating too fast, really. And so one thing that I've been working on is just slowing down, actually tasting my food, not rushing through the meal. And it could just be something as simple as putting your fork down between bites, taking a breath before the next bite, not loading up on that bite before finishing the last one. That's what I do quite often. Even just drinking a little bit of water between your meal and giving yourself a second to know whether you're still hungry or if you're just eating for pleasure. All right, so this leads us to the last habit, and that is morning sunlight. The goal here is super simple. It's just getting outside, simply trying to get 5 to 10 minutes of sunlight. And I know that sounds almost too simple, like it's not going to do much, but I would argue that it's probably one of the most powerful things that you can do to start your day. What that does is tell your body, hey, it's time to wake up. It helps you feel more alert. It helps regulate your internal clock, and it's even going to help you sleep better later that night. And this all happens because it triggers the natural release of cortisol in the morning. And I know when people hear cortisol, they think stress, something bad. But your body is designed to release cortisol in the morning. That's what helps you feel more alert. It wakes you up. It gives you energy. So it's not harmful. It's exactly what your body needs to set you up well for the day. Now, if you're going to do this, do not stare directly at the sun. The goal is to get indirect sunlight, trying to let that sunlight hit the eyes without staring at it. But, if you're not able to do that, just being outside is enough. It releases photons in the environment that allow you to get that release of cortisol. And even on cloudy days, although if it's cloudy, being outside a little longer is more beneficial. This really doesn't have to be complicated. It's just step outside, Maybe go for a short walk, drink your coffee outside, sit and read for a few minutes. That's it. And for me, this morning sunlight has really become an important time to just slow down and be grateful and spend a few minutes in prayer before the day gets started, because life is busy, life is tough, and when things feel hard, it's really easy to shift into that mindset of, well, what's wrong, what's missing, what's not going my way, and I'll start comparing, I'll start chasing for more, and then of course I'll start feeling like I'm behind. I never actually stop and slow down enough to appreciate what God has put in front of me. But when I do slow down and actually look around, it's amazing to just see the beauty of creation. You notice the sounds the birds make, the fact that I can see, hear, and feel. It shifts something in me, and it reminds me of what God has already given me. So what I'm realizing right now, it's not that I didn't know what to do. It's that I slowly stopped doing the small things that were keeping me grounded. And maybe that's where you are too. You're not broken or incapable. You're just out of rhythm. But the good news is you don't need to fix everything overnight. You just need to take one step in the right direction. Start small, move your body, be more mindful of what you eat. Get outside and just take moments to be grateful, because those small things done consistently don't just change your health. They change how you live. So if you're feeling off right now, don't try to fix everything. Start with one thing that you are 100% confident you can stick to it, and build from there. And if you want to walk through this with me, well, that's what this channel is for. If this video helped you, I'd appreciate if you hit subscribed and liked it or shared it with someone, because I really love making videos like this to help other people and help people stay consistent and build discipline and just get back on track. And I appreciate you for being here, and I hope to see you in the next one.